Hey guys, this is Branko from the crypto team here at Ainslie, coming at you with our first crypto spotlight video on Magic Token. And the goal of this series is going to be looking at kind of a different altcoin maybe you weren't aware of, or gaining a new perspective on a project you're already accustomed to. So I'm very excited to be looking at these projects and both myself learning, and hopefully you might pick up a thing or two as well. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is Magic. Now, the reason I'm very excited about this project is because it has very lofty aspirations, right? It aspires to become almost a decentralized currency that combines metaverses together. So to put that into more layman's terms, imagine if there was a token that you could use on Sandbox and Decentraland, two of the biggest metaverses, that could be used both in game and then, in between them, right? So it would connect them together. That's what Magic tries to do, not with those two projects, but with all the different gaming and different NFTs and things and different projects on Arbitrum, which is a layer 2 on Ethereum. So it has quite large aspirations. And I think it's very exciting. So the reason I'm kind of talking about it today is because of the recent price movements that it's had. As you can see here, this is only about 12 days ago. We were sitting at 30 cents and we moved all the way up to, touch 90 cents. We're pulling back now, to be fair, today. But still, a 3x move in 10 days or a 2x move in a week is something I think is very, very probably rare in these market conditions, right? This isn't the bull market of before. This is, a bit more neutral or bearish, whatever you want to say. The market's very different. So any altcoin moving like this, I think, is something to keep an eye on. So quickly to reiterate that whenever you're looking at investing in altcoins, move with a bit more trepidation, right? It's not Ethereum or Bitcoin. The volatility is a lot higher. So you need to consider that. And also keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's more just for discussionary purposes, right? So let's jump into it now. So it's a brief overview of the price action, what price has been doing. Let's jump into more of the fundamentals. So I think this is a great explanation of that describes this theory, right? So Treasure is a decentralized video game console connecting games, communities together through imagination, magic, and NFTs. So think of Treasure as an OpenSea and think of Magic as Ethereum, right? So when people want to buy NFTs, they have to buy Ethereum and they spend that Ethereum on OpenSea. So that artificially creates a demand for Ethereum, right? Because all the NFTs are priced in ETH. Same thing with Magic. So when you want to buy an NFT, which a lot are yield-bearing NFTs, that's the goal they want to create. They want to make the play-to-earn gaming structure, which we'll get into a little bit later. They want to make that work. So when you want to buy an NFT on Treasure, you've got to buy Magic. Creates a demand for Magic, and then you spend that Magic to buy the NFT on the platform. So that the way they want to kind of make this play to earn model work, and the reason that their NFTs can be yield bearing is because of this kind of combination structure and bringing communities together and bringing DeFi infrastructure together. So, for example, with Steppen, right, which was on Solana, the shoe running protocol that you might know of. How that worked was they had a massive user base at the start. Prices were soaring, but then once the user base moved away from Steppen, its native token, which you would earn, and this once the speculators stopped, right, the native token just went to crap, and it's the user base has really gone down, and no one's really using it anymore. So often with these play to earn games, you get that kind of extremely high upside play, like on Axie Infinity, and then it comes crashing down because the tokenomics are shaky, right? Because there's no real use case for the second token that is used as kind of to pay out players. So for Magic, the reason why Magic is kind of very innovative is because it looks to bring a new wave to this idea, right? So if you can spend Magic in a bunch of different platforms on a bunch of different things, and it's kind of intertwined in the Arbitrum gaming sphere, then there's a lot more use case for that. So this could potentially change the play to earn gaming model. Obviously, no guarantee, and I mean, it is very risky. But the idea, I think, is quite fascinating. So that's a bit of a brief overview of it, and now I'll move on to the tokenomics, which I think are quite bullish. So they have a halvening every year. So unlike Bitcoin, which has a halvening every 4 years, Magic has a halvening every year. Now, I'm not saying Magic is going to be the next Bitcoin, because it most definitely is not. There's only one, and it's not going to get close to that. But this is very good, right? I mean, the lower the supply and emissions, the better for current holders, because there's less supply, and if demand stays the same, supply gets lowered, then price should go up. In theory, but obviously you never know. So I do like the tokenomics of it, and they did bootstrap it early on by inflating emissions to get people to use the ecosystem, similar to other things like Axie Infinity, right? But now they're really just lowering that, and it's halvening, and they're keeping it steady. So I think that is quite bullish, that halvening. And now we'll move on to more of kind of a bear case, right? And where would a bear case come from? I think it would come from the fact that it is on Arbitrum and not a major chain, right? So as you can see here, Ethereum, the big dog, right? Over 58% of total value locked on all chains is on Ethereum. Arbitrum, holds a measly 1.32%. Now, Magic total value locked is, I think, roughly 80 or 90 million. So that's 10% of all total value locked on Arbitrum is in Magic, which is good, but also they have a very high reliance on the performance of layer 2, right? So if, let's say, the merge goes great, everything's perfect, gas fees, drop dramatically, are people going to use these layer 2s as much? That's a potential risk to Magic, right? And even if you do think that they're going to use layer 2s, are they going to migrate to Arbitrum, right? Because Optimism and Polygon both have much higher market share of the total value locked as other layer 2 solutions. So I think that's where a bear case would come from. And now we'll look on to a recent rumor as to why price might have the reason why it might have skyrocketed. I saw this kind of on the Twitter sphere. I thought it was very interesting. And the rumor is that it might be getting listed on Binance soon. And Binance does have an Arbitrum bridge. So it already has the infrastructure there built in place. But, obviously nothing's guaranteed, and there's a lot of crap on Twitter as well. So keep that in mind. But I thought this was very interesting, and it could explain why we've kind of had this massive move on really not much news, right? We do have the halvening coming up, but it's 4, 5, 6 weeks away. So it doesn't really make sense to have this kind of leap when people knew the halvening was already happening at that time. So I think there might be some credence to this rumor, but I'm not sure. If it does happen, then Magic's going to do very well. If it doesn't happen, we might continue to see more of a pullback because people might have bought into that rumor, and now they're regretting it. So, sadly, I don't have any insider information. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I did try to look at some on-chain stuff to see if there was a potential insider buying in. I did find this interesting purchase of 200,000 USD. So I thought that would be good to talk about. So as you can see, this guy, his Magic holders, or girl, I don't know, the amount of Magic that this person holds is a lot more than anything else that they hold in their wallets. I thought that was interesting. So maybe they're an insider, but they have literally like 20 minutes ago. I'll pull it up one sec. They've sold half their holdings. So, if they didn't do that, I would have thought there would have been more of an insider, right? Because they're holding all their Magic for an announcement. But because they've sold half now, I'm struggling to think that it is some kind of insider. Another thing I was looking for was kind of a lack of activity. They've been somewhat active that they bought here 10 days ago. So they bought 10 days ago when, price was around here. So they've done pretty good return on investment. But yeah, I looked for some inactivity in the wallet, and they're not overly active. So again, if it was very inactive and they'd kept all their magic and they had just jumped in, right? They just spent 200,000. They didn't dollar cost average in. So that I found that interesting, right? So they're not dollar cost averaging a position of 200,000 over a period of time. There's a sense of urgency there. So that is why maybe I thought it was an insider. But again, because they've sold half now, if you really were an insider, you would probably wait till at least the announcement. So yeah, look, that's a brief summary on Magic. And, keep an eye out. Maybe it is true, maybe it isn't true. I don't know. You can't trust Twitter. a lot of crap on there. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. For more crypto spotlight videos in the future, follow us on YouTube at Ainslie. Hoping to have one out every week. And yeah, thanks for your time, and see you next time. Bye.